Okay, so let's start. Thank you so much for joining in. A very good afternoon to all of you. As you know, we do these Learning Tuesdays very often, but this actually is the first Learning Tuesday of 2021. So thanks again for joining in. Today's topic, as you all know, is on the power of collaboration. As the future of work is evolving, there are new behaviors that are now more important than any other behaviors, and one of them actually is collaboration. So to have this discussion on the subject today, we have Sandeep Sharma, who most of you would know is the cluster head for Rajasthan. We also have Nandini, who is the marketing manager for Prestige, Upper Prestige. Thank you so much, Sandeep and Nandini, for joining us.
Thanks,
So
Richa.
thank you. Thanks so much. So before I really start putting across questions for both of you, I'll just in very simple words, define what collaboration really means. So collaboration can actually be defined as when a group of people come together and contribute to their expertise for the benefit of a shared objective, project, or a mission. It's a chance where we gain new insights, we share our expertise, and find new inspiring ways to solve problems and deliver efficient solutions. So, what really happens is that a lot of times collaboration and the word teamwork would get confused, right? So, my question, first question, would be for you, Nandini. What, according to you, is collaboration, and how do you differentiate between collaboration and teamwork?
Yeah. So thanks, Richa, and thanks everyone for joining in. Yeah, I guess these two words, team and teamwork and collaboration are usually used interchangeably, right? And that's and there is only a fine line of difference between the two. So for me, I believe what is common between these two aspects is this North Star or a vision that is where we are together. In teamwork also there is a vision, in collaboration also there is a vision, but the process travel in these two ways of working are very, very different. So there are two different aspects. If I look at the role of people or role of members in the team, is one aspect where I see a lot of difference between these two ways of working, right? In a teamwork, what happens is everybody has a predefined role as such. And there is a common goal, but then there is a designated task or role that you have to play. It's very similar to something like a production line, wherein every part of that journey is predefined, and you are expected to only deliver that aspect of your task. But when it comes to collaboration, it's a very, very fungible world, right? The roles and responsibilities are very, very fungible. It is not cast an iron to say that I am expected to deliver only a certain part of the work stream. It's a game of equals, right? I mean, all of us are in it together in equal authority and expectation. You are expected to deliver. There is no predefined expectation from each one of you. You are expected to kind of think together, work together, solve together. So there is no designated role for each one of you. So that's one of the big differences as I see between a team and a collaboration sort of ways of working. Second aspect is basically the role of leadership and role of a leader in these two work groups as such. In a team, what you generally see is team actually being defined by the leadership on top, right? I mean, there is a top-down sort of an approach where there is a culture which is laid out by the team or the leader as such, which translate into each one of the members within the team. And second aspect is there is a lot of dependency leaning on to the excuse me, to the leader that you see in a team sort of ways of working, right? And generally you will see that this is a group of people who will be there could be scenarios of dropping the ball altogether if the boss is not around, right? So that's the kind of commitment which is there on the table when it comes to team. And second, even a leader is expected to deliver his own scope of work in a team sort of environment altogether. When it comes to collaboration, it's an interesting scenario. We live it day in, day out. There is no predefined leader as such in a collaboration sort of ways of working. It's a self-managed team. Everybody is expected to kind of step up, step back, depending upon the job at hand, right? So it's a a pretty flexible ways of working sort that you will see, and there is no predefined leader to guide you to drive towards a common goal as such, right? You will see some scenarios, some people taking charge. It's not to say that there is no leadership as such. You will see some people taking charge in scenarios where it is required, but more or less it is seen as a self-managed, self-regulated, self-driven set of people chasing a goal. So these are the two aspects which really differentiates teamwork versus a collaboration, according to me.
Thanks, Nandini. And I think the key takeaway from me, through the definition that you just gave us, would be that teamwork is more structured when teams are put together. There's a defined leader. But when it comes to collaboration, it's very fluid and fungible. And different people will take leadership roles, as deems fit during the course of that collaboration. So thank you so much, Nandini, for sharing your thoughts. My question is to you now, Sandeep, and I would like to understand from you if there is any experience that you would want to share with us where you had to collaborate with people. What was the outcome? What are some of the do's and don'ts that people should be mindful of while collaborating? So any experiences that you would like to share with us?
Thanks, Richa. Yeah, life is full of experiences, and before I start with my story, I want to share something which you all, whoever is listening, would have seen that story or read that story somewhere. So I read a lot of mythology and fiction for a simple reason that in mythology, more than the myth or the fiction that gets talked about, there are a lot of stories which can help you in the corporate life or life in general. So one such story related to the topic that we are discussing today was the collaboration between Bhagwan Ram and Vanar Sena. That explains a lot about how important the collaboration is, because even God himself had to collaborate. We're just mortals, isn't it? So now coming to the story of collaboration at Diageo, which is at the top of my mind and will resonate with a lot of you, was renovation of number one. So the renovation of number one, the pilot for the launch, for those who don't know, was done in Kota, that's in Rajasthan. And basis the success of the pilot, we launched a renovated mix across India. Now I think it's launched across India. So it was a classic case of collaboration with each person involved from various functions, bringing in the collaboration capital and clearly articulating what the capital is. And we achieved the desired outcome within the stipulated time. So and there was no leader, like Nandini mentioned. So from the day of the test pilot to now, the gain in market share for McDowell number one is more than 10%. So that was the outcome, the desired outcome. In fact, more than the desired outcome that we had. So Richa, you asked. So my learning from the collaboration that I've seen in various projects that we did, that it helps you solve problem faster. It brings people and organization together and closer together, and it helps people learn from each other. Somebody with a different set of capital comes in together for a common goal, and there is no hierarchy there, so there's a more scope of learning from each other, and it opens up new channels for communication, because when it's not structured, like you said, the channel is better, because in a structure you think twice before asking somebody that how we will think about. So it's an open channel, and it actually boosts morale across the organization, not just for the person involved, but across the organization. That's the culture that gets built with the collaboration, and obviously it brings in more efficiency with the people involved. So that has been the learning for me in collaboration. That's the do's I have. Don'ts, I think there aren't many. Uh, you have to be very careful what you bring in, and you have to articulate that that how will you bring in that, because it's not a structured thing. It's not a, maybe it may not be a day job also. So few watch outs that you have to be careful about, but there are a lot of do's, and like I said before, even Bhagwan Ram had to, so we all have to do that. Yeah.
So I think collaboration is the key when it comes to better problem solving. Thanks so much, Sandeep, for sharing your thoughts. Nandini, anything that you would want to add in terms of your experiences with respect to collaboration?
Yeah. This project of McDowell's is close to my heart as well, and so is with a lot of listeners and all of Diageo India as such. So absolutely, I think it was one of those projects where we actually demonstrated to its full glory what is the power of collaboration, and we actually went. It was pretty natural, right? I mean, like Sandeep was saying, I mean, there was no hierarchy, there was no strict ways of working. We all came together, we solved problems together, we moved forward, and rest is history, as you're seeing, right? It's still in the making, but yeah, we are seeing 2 quarters of big history being made in Diageo India. One big difference, like we were just talking about teamwork versus collaboration. This was not a project where, say, marketing team sitting in HO designed the retail world and then handed it over to the customer marketing team, who took the baton to the sales team. It was not at all that. It was not linear in that sense. We all came together right from, what is it that we need to kind of tackle on number one. If it was about, recruiting at a certain scale, and we were doing that, but we wanted to really accelerate the pace. We all came together. We found, the solution together, and we said, okay, we know the solution, but how do you bring it? And so there was a lot of sharing of knowledge. It was never the case that of passing the baton as such. So I guess it is a brilliant example, and that's exactly why it is a success that we know it is.
So thanks, Nandini and Sandeep, for sharing this example. But I think it's easier said than done, right? I mean, the way you guys are explaining it appears to be very easy, the way you all have collaborated together. But I'm sure there must be these, difficulties, and we come across these difficulties all the time. So what are some of those challenges that you think, we often come across, and, how do we overcome that?
Okay, I guess absolutely, Richa. This is not a game which is very easy, and it's not a cakewalk at all, right? I mean, starting with the obvious ones, we are a group of people with very different personalities, EQ, IQ, everything you call it. We are very, very different bunch of people, and it's very unlikely that you will get a team of collaborators who are best friends. It's highly improbable you will get that kind of chemistry between the collaborators. So interpersonal, problems and the difference of opinions between people is the most obvious of the challenges that you will face, right? And we did face that also in our journey during number one, right? With so many people, so many opinions. The way to tackle that, I would say, would be to kind of have open communication, right? I mean, it is not easy for us to always second guess what the other person is feeling or what is the other person's point of view. It's always important to transparently share a point of view. So that's one big hindrance, but easily solved through a face-to-face chat or a call, right? So that's something that is one of the biggest hindrances that we actually face when you are collaborating together with a set of very varied set of people. Second big challenge I would have to say is very relevant in the current times. Richa, you started the conversation with that, right? Especially now when people are all working in different, remotely working. That whole dispersed team, right? I mean, you don't have the same set of people sitting together and tackling problems together. We are all remotely working. So a lot of times what happens in collaboration is that you don't have the same kind of information flow, which would ideally happen if we are to sit together and discuss. And these projects also have a longer duration of time, right? It's not like 1 week you huddle together, you solve it. It's a matter of weeks and months and possibly, a couple of financial years altogether. So in such a situation, people working remotely aggravates the kind of, chasm between the team. How do you really, work together is one big challenge that we would face in situations when we collaborate. So one way to kind of tackle, again, dispersed teams is how we are working together right now, Zoom calls and using the right, tools and mechanisms so that, you are always connected. You are, sharing the information as fast as you can with the rest of the team so that they are also up to speed on progress on projects. could be a possible way. So definitely technology as an enabler comes very handy when we are talking about dispersed teams, right? A third one is, one of the challenges that you will definitely face in a group of people with no clear leadership is also decision makers, how critical they become in the process, as such, right? So when you have, and many a times, you will have indecisive decision makers, right? I mean, we all have come across that. And that becomes a lot, many a times, a bottleneck, right? To move forward, to drive decisions at pace, as such. So definitely one big hindrance is having decision makers who are indecisive. How do you really solve for such a big hurdle as such? Again, the way to kind of solve such a scenario in our experience is to kind of build in scenarios and give the right kind of information for the decision makers to take a confident call, right? So that could be a possible way to kind of tackle that. And lastly, in the case of projects collaboration, there is a lot of people who are involved in the process. So that becomes a big challenge as such, right? I mean, like I said in the first aspect, number of people, getting them along, and leveraging their strengths is equally important, right? So that becomes a huge challenge as such. But what we have learned in the case of number one, if we have to share the example, is we turned it on its head and we said, so many people are a big strength, right? I mean, we don't have to kind of solve challenges that we are facing on the brand in terms of, consumer facing, what should be the right intervention, what should be the right messaging. We got people along to share their expertise. It required us to kind of huddle together and then openly communicate and then really tackle the problems together. It's very important to recognize that these are the challenges, right? I mean, your half the task is done when you recognize these 4 or 5 things are the big challenges. You anticipate and you walk into the room with this with the anticipation that these kind of challenges will crop up in this way of working. So that really helped us, and that's something that I would say on challenges that you might face.
Thanks, Nandini. I think very beautifully explained. And what really stood out for me was the point that you made about being communicating openly. So I think that's something that is actually key to a effective collaboration. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Another challenge which often people would come across is to who do we really collaborate with? How do you choose the right partner for collaboration, right? And what are those factors that you should consider before you really approach somebody to collaborate? So how do you really put all of that together? So Sandeep, if I can ask you, what would be your thoughts on this?
You have to give words to the kind of things that you need to look for. We can put it broadly 6 types of I call it a capital, collaboration capital, that can help you convince someone to collaborate with you. So if you can offer one or at least several of the following form of capitals and clearly articulate how it will help you and your colleague reach a shared goal, you'll be far more likely to get them on board. You're asking that it could be a factor, one factor, many factor. You'll have to show that. So few of the factors are, so one is sweat equity. If you are collaborating, if you're asking for somebody to come together, so you'll have to understand the most of the work may come to you. So you should be ready for that. That's number one. Number two is subject matter knowledge. If there's a particular project, or like number one, if somebody with the subject matter knowledge of what the blend is all about, it could be somebody from the unit or from the marketing team. And the story I talked about Rama, so therein subject matter knowledge was with the Vanasena because they were from that side and they could do that. The third is the process knowledge, that how things will be done. So that would be the third. Fourth is connections. So by connections, I mean you need to know the right people. How easily can you get them on board. Like for example, Nandini was talking about getting everybody on board from XCOM as well. So it's better if we have somebody in the team, or you are that person who has a right connect to the right people who are making decisions. That's the fourth one. Fifth is access to funding. No project is complete without any funding or any collaboration or any business. You can't run without any funding. So that is the fifth one. and sixth is the image. So these are six that I'm talking about. And you should have either or all of these. That only you can collaborate, or you should seek for these six things when you're collaborating with somebody. So collaboration, when done right, is a very powerful tool. See, I'll again say a lot of Bhagwans had to do that. So we will have to, and we have seen success. There are many success stories which you would have seen. We're talking more of number one because it's recent, and it was a classic case. So it's a merging of your unique talents and those of the people who are coming together to achieve valuable results. 10% gain is after 5 years of dropping share. It's a quite a valuable result of the mix that we achieved. But in a previous question, Richa, you'd asked that why people don't collaborate or what's the don'ts. So even the smart professional fail to grasp their own value. It's about first assessing yourself, that what are you getting on board, and not just getting on board. Can you articulate that what are you getting on board? It should be a compelling proposition. Otherwise, why will somebody want to collaborate with you? And you may have that talent, but if people don't know, because in collaboration it's not just a team that you worked with before, so you have to sell yourself, you know so by understanding the collaboration capital that you bring out of the six, or it could be more. These are my six capitals that I'm talking about, and need to communicate the same with confidence, so that the other person should know that you have it, but avoid showing arrogance in there. In knowing yourself is good, but if it comes across as arrogance, nobody will want to work with somebody who's arrogant about what is he bringing on table. So with this all put together, you're more likely to win over your colleagues or the teammates that you want. And we all know we can accomplish great things together if things are done right, and getting the right set of people. So you should always look for these and sell yourself. Communicate very very clearly. What do you bring on table? And the future of the workplace that we're talking about will be very very non-leader driven, because we're all living virtually these days. So you're not in the market every day, you're not running the show by being there with people. So you'll have to collaborate more rather than a teamwork, wherein when you go with them, you can tell people how to get things done. But with the whole the world that we're living in, it'll be more of collaboration. So we can't like live life without that now, even more than it was earlier. So that's from my side.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. And since you just mentioned in the end about people operating in a very dispersed manner right now, I have a question for you, and this is particularly for the kind of team that you have. You have a large team, right? And there are people who often have to collaborate with each other. Like you have a team leader, or you have a customer marketing manager. How do they and sales analytics, right? I can think of these few roles, that you would have in your team right now. So how do you ensure as a leader, uh, especially in the current times when people are not able to meet in person, how do you ensure, maybe two top mantras that come to your mind as a leader, to ensure that there's effective collaboration within your team?
So, as a leader, the main difference between a teamwork and collaboration is that it should work without a leader. So the day, the moment you make them feel, the entire team, in what are the bringing on table that I talked about. Like for example, as a we talked about access to funding, so that my customer marketing team will have. The process knowledge, or the sweat equity, somebody who's working on the ground. I really respect my SEs and my team leaders who have been on the ground for last, from the time we started working on the liquor shops open. So they, once you tell them, or once you make them realize that this is what they're bringing on table, and the other person is bringing this on table, so you need to sit together and work it out, rather than people working in silos. Because together, if we work together, we achieve results which are unheard of. And I have an example of that. In Johnny Walker Red Label in Rajasthan, we were hardly known for luxury, in India. So that was a perfect collaboration that happened, where it was driven by a team leader, not by me. So it was driven by a team leader named Vinay Jain. He drove it with the other team leaders, and along with customer marketing, getting in the analysts, together to bring in the right data point, sharing the right data point with the team in time. So that's how it happened. And it becomes much more important now. I'll keep repeating that, because leaders, you're not seeing the leader on ground every day. We just get to see them on like virtually. So you have to realize that what are you bringing on table, what others are, and drive the common goal, because everybody's running for the same thing: gain market share every day, everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thanks for sharing that. There's a question from Savio, and also, how do we collaborate only when we have a need, or can one collaborate if one sees an opportunity going by for the organization's objective, and how without trespassing others' space of work? I think that's a good question. Maybe Nandini, if you want to take it.
Yeah, I agree. Savio, great question. So here, see, collaboration is a way of working, right? And there is no, and you can be absolutely selfish about, once you realize the power of collaboration, like Sandeep was just mentioning the example of a team lead taking charge, getting people to come together and collaborate, right? So he was very selfish in his end to kind of unlock that way of working for that particular project, right? He got everybody to collaborate. Once collaboration starts and you set the rules of the game, what happens is you're not stepping on each other's shoes altogether. The ownership of the project goes from you to that team altogether, right? So absolutely, you can actually work with larger team and get people to work together across cross functions, right? It need not be just about the talent within your team, right? You get access to talent outside your team, and absolutely. And what we have seen in examples is that the moment you extend the project to a larger team, absolutely people embrace it. You will be surprised how open people from other teams will be to come on board and help you out on challenges. So absolutely, Savio, it's not just about a particular the start of the entire process can be very selfish of you wanting to kind of get the best result, but once you get everybody on board, absolutely, it's not about stepping on each other's shoe. It's actually sharing the ownership, sharing the project all together.
I would like to add what Nandini just said. So the good thing, Savio, and to everybody, is we still haven't gone to the artificial intelligence wherein everything is a binary, where it's 0 or a 1. When there's a code written and there's an algorithm, you can't trespass that algorithm. We are humans. We are very varied, and like Nandini said, you will be surprised when you go to somebody and you may think that you're trespassing. That's his job. That needs to be done, but they may be just looking for a helping hand and not asking for it. So because till the time you're dealing with humans, that's the only way we communicate. And there are a lot of books written about that. Our civilization came through on the power of gossip, that we could make stories, we could make beliefs. So you have to just go. You just have to, like I mentioned earlier, you'll have to sell yourself, means confidently that this is what I can bring on the table. Everybody's looking for a hand of help. I don't mind that help, in case you have any, or anybody has any, because objective is the same, and it's the final result that counts. So whoever wants to come on board should come on board, should ask for it, and get it done. You're not trespassing ever on anybody's space of work.
Thanks, Sandeep. There's a question which I know more or less has been answered already, but maybe Nandini, if you would like to summarize that once again. The question is from Satul Sharma, and his question is, what are 3 steps to increase collaboration in a team?
Yeah, so I guess we kind of touched upon in different parts of this discussion, but definitely to really get everybody to work together, it's very important. Like we said, you have to realize what are each one of your strengths and areas of expertise, right? So it's definitely important to recognize when you're forming that team who is good at what, and then really come be assertive, be demanding. Like Sandeep said, you have to exhort that you are good at a certain thing and really come on board. So signing up everybody into the task is definitely important. Getting the communication open between the team members is very, very critical for a continued, it's almost like getting that cogs of the wheel running all throughout, right? So getting the communication on between the team of collaborators is very, very critical. And as a team, when we lax, we actually tap on each other's shoulder and really drive each other. So there is a lot of leaning in and leaning back which will happen between the teams. So there is a chemistry which naturally forms between the teams, and we should definitely let the teams take their time to settle in. Once it is done, it becomes very, very natural for the teams to kind of work together, and definitely that common goal, like Sandeep was telling, having sight of that common goal really drives all of us. And in a non-judgmental sort of a group, people are unafraid to kind of ask questions, learn together, think for each other. That kind of a very conducive environment is something which will enable people to work together, and being open to learn from each other, to accept the expertise of other talent is very, very critical. And lastly, there are some work streams that will require a lot more of collaboration, right? If it is a certain area of expertise, if it is just a specific area of expertise, say for example, Sandeep was giving the example of liquid modification, it might require a certain skill set only. But there are projects which will require much more skill set. You will require a right brain and a left brain, which is critical for getting the project results in a certain way. In such projects, it's very important for us to collaborate. So it's not a choice that we might have in many a times, and that's the way that the new ways of working is actually progressing towards. So like we spend the last couple of minutes discussing, I believe what we can assertively say is that collaboration is no more a choice. It will become the way of working, and that for all the right reasons, right? Yeah.
I think very nicely put, Nandini. I think it's no more a choice. It's the way of working, and with offices opening up partially, half of the team working out of home, half in the office. I think that's when the real skill of being able to collaborate will be beneficial for all of us. Also, since you touched upon future ways of working, another stream which since I and you both are a part of it, Nandini, which is talent allocation, where we're rapidly trying to allocate talent to various projects. Would you like to throw some light as to how collaboration will be a key for that kind of work stream as well?
Yeah, so like we said, right? I mean, it is important for us to find. I think Sandeep was answering that question on how to find or who to collaborate with, right? So this whole talent allocation program will help us to kind of find the right match, find the right skill set, which is there across different functions, right? I mean, I might be in marketing right now, but there might be a project in, say, technical center, which will require, my skill set. So similarly, Sandeep is in sales team, but his expertise might be required for a project which is on innovation. So, and this is not a usual way of working, which we would have seen over the years. It's a new way of working where we would require people to kind of really be fungible, to move across different your own core area of expertise, and really be part of other teams where you will be required to bring in your expertise, but at the same time open to work together in a very, very open, fluid project against a certain goal. So absolutely, Richa, that's something that we should definitely encourage, and we should I would urge everybody to be part of that process altogether.
Thanks, Nandini. So I think we are now, at the end of the session. All the questions both of you have taken and answered very, very efficiently. Thank you so much. In case there are any questions, I would request if participants can put here on the chat. But as I see, all the questions have already been answered. Thank you so much once again. If there are any questions, I would request participants to directly write to you, in case they want further clarification on anything, also on the project that you talked about. So thank you so much for joining us on the session.
Thank you, Richa.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thanks, Richa. Thanks, Nandini.
Thanks, everyone.
everyone.